Hey guys, good evening. Today is a Sunday, it's 14th Jan, right? So it's about 6:15 p.m. in the evening, and yeah, yesterday I stopped off at after having learnt about AND operators, OR operators, and excuse me, I'm yawning. So yeah, sorry. So yesterday I watched Weber explain about AND operators, OR operators, and XOR operators, and I believe there was about another 30 minutes of the video left, but yeah, it was pretty late. I had traveled quite a bit yesterday, and yeah, I was mentally exhausted, so said I just said it, called it a day, and slept, got some rest, woke up, went for a walk, had quite an energizing day, but yeah, I had a lot of things going on in the morning. So I think what I'm observing, even though I'm not really working, is this something or the other keeps coming up, right, at home or with something else, applying to jobs, be it anything, right? So something or the other keeps coming up, and most likely Monday to Friday, I'm pretty much occupied with keeping my health in check, right? So going for a walk in the morning, or if I miss that, I still have to go to the gym pretty much, 4 days a week between Monday and Friday. So that takes up 2 to 2.5 hours a day, and by the time I get back, it's already about 10:30, 11, most likely. And usually Saturdays I clean up my entire table and desk setup, so I lose about an hour to 90 minutes every Saturday on that. So yeah, I seem to have, it seems a bit unstructured right now that I'm not spending more time on coding, but uh, there's a lot happening, a lot of thoughts running through my mind as well. So I'm just not pushing the limits right now. So because there's other things that I need to worry about. But yeah, let's put all that aside. You are here to see, how the day goes today with regards to sharpener. So let me, go back to the video, and the moment I'm done with the video and I solve a couple of assignments, I'll update you, and yeah, we'll call it a day. Cool, guys. I'll be back in a while. Hey guys, I'm back. So yeah, I completed watching the video. I watched it. I watched the remainder portion, which involved learning about left shift and sorry, the remainder of the video where Weber explained left shift and right shift. That was what was on it. Right in the last 25 minutes. Uh, I think the left shift and right shift I really have to study it a bit more, because and he explained one problem, and even in the second assign. So that was basically the first part, or the first task in the bit manipulation, just watching the video. Once I was done with that, I moved on to the second task, which actually was a question that was already solved in the video, right? So, and here Weber also mentioned in the video that the reason he is giving the same question is because the concept is important, and so that we don't miss out or we don't forget it. And that was the reason why the same question was being repeated. That that made a fair bit of sense, and I was like, okay. But the question after that, right, and even Weber mentioned this, that this module particularly is going to be quite tricky and fairly difficult compared to what we've experienced so far. And I felt that there wasn't, even when explaining it, I think on a fundamental level, even though I initially understood the concepts, I didn't really get enough or I didn't see enough examples, which is why I didn't really like get the concept. So I went back, looked at the concept, and like, okay, fine. Because in the third task, I continued right after the second one, didn't take a break, right? Because I want to be doing at least at the bare minimum 2 tasks a day. Because that is like going anything below that is makes no sense. So when I went on to the third task, I knew the logic, right? So I converted whatever decimal number was given into binary. Now, the approach that I followed was absolute brute force approach, wherein I did not even use the and operators, or operators, XOR operators, or left shift or right shift. And I think that is where I'm failing at this point. And this has happened even like in the previous boot camp. They didn't really even talk about bit manipulation that much. But yeah, in this module, in this in Sharpner's curriculum, it's quite important, and it's fairly in the start, and it genuinely is. I can feel the difference in how you need to think in order to solve bit manipulation questions, because it's radically different from how you solve any other DSA questions or any other questions I've solved so far, right? Because it's not about adding using the modulo operator or the division operators anymore. It's completely got to be in bitwise operators, right? I have to use AND operators, OR operators, XOR, or left shift and right shift. These are the only 5 tools I get to use. So I think I have to sort of rewire my mind in order to think only in these terms, because I used a brute force approach where I did not use any bitwise operators, which was funny because the question was on bit manipulation, had to use bitwise operators. Without using a single bitwise operators, I still solve the question, but then that defeats the purpose of having the question in the first place. So yeah, this is a bit of a challenge. So I'll definitely do 2 tasks, and I 100% feel everyone needs to have some sort of a note taking. Everybody needs to be used to taking notes, or having either on pen or paper, or on tablet, whatever makes you comfortable. But because at least personally, without writing it down somewhere, this is not a topic that you can, any topic in coding for that matter, you won't just get by it without making notes somewhere. Like, maybe there might be that 1% who is exceptional, who don't need to take notes, but the 99% have to take notes in some form or another. So I suggest everyone who's getting started on Sharpener, or learning bit manipulation, or wanting to learn coding from any platform, be it free, paid, whatever, we need to get back to the fundamental habit of writing down the concepts we are learning, so that, think of it, right, it always acts as a revision. And I think a lot of YouTubers and a whole bunch of people have told, whenever you write whatever you have learned, right, after say you learn a given topic, then once you have completed the topic, if you go back and write everything you remember, you'll already see there's a drop of, let's say, about 30% in the information that was shared, right? And the reason you write is because it reinforces whatever you've already learned, and if there's a mistake, you can correct it then and there. So, and this stays longer in the mind, right? Whatever information you put down on paper or on iPad, or take a note somewhere, you are able to retain it longer. That's basically the science or the logic behind it, and it makes a lot of sense to me. So I've already mentioned, I dry run code and all of that, because without that, it's just, for me, it's honestly very difficult. If I don't try run a code, I'll never get the logic somewhere. Of course, I can use print statements and all of that, but that's only the topics that I'm comfortable with so far. So At this point, yeah, I suggest everyone mm, get a piece of pen and paper or an iPad and get started on it. So that's about it, guys. Sorry, guys. Had some interruption. Anyways, yeah, it's almost 9:15 p.m. So I've spent a good 3 hours. I actually had to run an errand in between, so that took about 30 minutes of my time. So technically, 2.5 hours is what I've spent today on Sharpener, and in 2.5 hours, all I've done is solve one problem that is already solved, and apart from that, solve another problem, that too without using the right approach or the right practices. So doesn't seem to be going that well. I mean, I have the logic down, right? If someone asks me how do you do it step by step, explain it, you can explain it, but being able to put it in terms of code is where the magic happens. So I think in order to be a good coder or a good developer, I have to be able to do that. So it's going to take some effort, but I'll surely get there. So yeah, that's it for the day. So as you can see, I've completed only 12%. So basically I've done 3 tasks, right? So yeah, see, I have 25 tasks in total. It's going to be a long journey, this one, this module particularly. And honestly, even today I was, a bit demotivated. I was like, do I really have to do this? But then, I'm just keeping my promise of being consistent. Let's, leaving aside the result. Whether I get a 5 LPA job, a 3 LPA job, or a 10 LPA job, that's beside the point. My only focus is to actually complete the modules and understand everything on a fairly in-depth level, whatever I learn. That's basically the goal, right? What type of job I'll get, where I'll get it, all that is, very far off in the future, that I'm not worried about at this point. So that is what's been happening or going through my mind. So yeah, I think that's all for the day. So stay tuned to the channel, for regular updates on how the journey's been going, how I'm feeling along the way, and what other practices that I'm using in order to, what other resources or practices I'm following in order to, stay ahead of the game and, stay consistent with this learning journey. So thank you guys, as always. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you taking 15 minutes out of your day in order to watch this video. So as always, do subscribe to the channel if you like the content, or if you feel it can benefit someone, do share it with them, be it a friend or a relative, so that they can also understand all the different concepts. Whether they learn with Sharpener or they learn on their own, that's up to them. But certainly Sharpener has a great curriculum, and compared to my previous bootcamp, like I said, bit manipulation wasn't really taught at all in the previous bootcamp, but Sharpener is giving it quite a lot of focus. And I'd mentioned previously, right, the exams and the tests that they have in between aren't that easy. So I think they have a lot of fail-safe. Sorry about the interruption again. Uh, so yeah, Sharpener seems to have thought about it, and put a lot of fail-safe in between the curriculum to ensure that the students are truly learning and not just using ChatGPT or other means to get by. I think that is one really good thing about Sharpener. And as far I've seen, they don't really do any marketing, so I feel like they're staying very true to the goal or the mission that they've committed themselves to. So that is one thing that I really appreciate about Sharpener, because a lot of the boot camps, which are fairly well known, they've raised money, and so they are struggling a bit because the boot camps are way too expensive, and Sharpener has always kept it pay after placement. I think it is difficult to keep it pay after placement, frankly, because you don't get rewards until your mentee or the students actually get a job. You actually help them land a job, right? So it's a very huge bet or a very big gamble in ways, because a lot of the people might join and they might get stressed, or they might not be able to go all the way, see it through the end, and they drop out, right? So it is difficult, but surprisingly, Sharpener, I think in a recent, so in one of their last posts on Instagram or somewhere, they shared they had placed about 700 students in 2023 altogether, even during a year that was considered, you know, uh, whereas a soft recession was happening, or a full-blown recession, I don't even know. But yeah, I mean, their placement stats are good, as you can see. There's someone new who's got placed 2 days back. There's another person placed 4 days back. Right, so I think on a weekly basis, I keep seeing at least 3 people, 2 to 3 folks getting placed every week. Right, there are some weeks where only one person might get placed based on the market condition, but on average, 2 to 3 folks a week. I mean, those are really good numbers. Right, so yeah, guys, thanks for watching all the way till the end. Stay tuned to the next one. See you guys. Bye.